Hey everyone, welcome. So today, we're going to dive into something really fascinating and a little unconventional. It's a text called The 800 Concepts, and, well, it's pretty much what it sounds like. A collection of aphorisms that lay out a complete guide to reality, all the way from mastering your inner world to understanding the very fabric of the cosmos.
So let's just jump right in with a really powerful idea from Aphorism 203. It says, "What you think comes, what you fear comes." Wow, that one sentence just perfectly captures the core theme we're going to be exploring today, the immense creative power of your own consciousness.
And that really forces you to ask yourself a huge question, right? What if your thoughts literally built your world? What if everything you see out there, your external reality, was just a mirror reflecting your internal state? Let's see how this whole idea plays out. Okay, so our journey starts right here with our first section, mastering your inner world. Because according to this philosophy, it all begins with you. Before you can change anything on the outside, you absolutely have to start with what's going on inside.
So this slide kind of lays out the practical groundwork for just living your life. It's not about these huge abstract ideas. It's about a kind of personal ethics. We're told to look inward for answers, not outward for blame, to choose simplicity. And get this, Aphorism 236 tells us to focus on other people's strengths and our own weaknesses. I mean, that's a total flip of how we usually operate, right? The whole foundation here is that a great life is built from all the small, detailed, intentional things you do. And at the end of the day, what you do for others, you're really just doing to yourself. And you see how this focus on inner work, it just naturally flows outward. Aphorism 215 puts it so clearly. The value of a person is directly proportional to the number of people they serve. So the real takeaway here is that self-mastery isn't some selfish goal. No, it's the thing you need to do before you can create any real value out there in the world.
All right, let's move on to section 2. And this is where things get really wild. We're going to see how all this builds into a radical new worldview. Your consciousness creates reality. This is where we take a huge leap from personal ethics right into metaphysics. So the big idea here, the real core concept, is that reality is a projection. Aphorism 237 just puts it out there. Your external world is a direct reflection of your internal state. So, complaining about your reality, it's like yelling at a movie screen, hoping the movie will change. The text argues it's way more effective to just transform yourself because you're the source of the projection. To make this super clear, let's use a simple metaphor. Just picture this. Your mind is a projector. It's on all the time, constantly casting images outwards. And if your mind is the projector, well, then your life, everything you experience, the people, the situations, that's the screen that all those images are being projected onto.
So what's the big takeaway? It's simple, but honestly, it's profound. If you want to change the movie, you have to change the projector. You work on the source, your own consciousness, not the reflection. Really getting this projector mindset requires a total flip in how you see the world. And this slide really nails that difference. Conventional thinking says our existence determines our consciousness. Our environment makes us who we are. But this text, it flips that completely on its head. It says consciousness determines existence. Who we are on the inside is what shapes the environment we experience on the outside. Okay, so we've talked about the power of your own mind. Now let's zoom way out for section 3 and explore the nature of the universe as this text sees it. What's really cool is the text lays out this very clear cosmic hierarchy. So at the very top, you have God, the single source of everything. Then that source's consciousness is called the Tao. You can think of it like a universal program or a cosmic operating system that governs absolutely everything. And finally, the universe itself is just the result of that program running, the physical and non-physical manifestation of it all. It's a top-down creation from pure consciousness all the way down to reality. And get this whole reality thing isn't just about our world. The text describes a whole bunch of parallel worlds existing right alongside ours. I mean, we've got our human realm, sure, but there's also a ghost realm, a divine realm for gods and Buddhas, a demonic realm, and even the Isles of the Immortals, the highest state you can reach. It just gives you a sense of the incredible scale of existence in this worldview. So, what's all this stuff actually made of? At its core? Well, according to Aphorism 403, the entire universe, with all its crazy worlds and dimensions, is fundamentally made of just 3 things. Consciousness, which is the creative force, structure, which gives everything its form, and energy, which is the juice that animates it all. And that brings us to our final section. And maybe the most important question of all, what's the point of all this? Section 4 gives us an answer: the path to heaven. So first things first, let's get clear on what heaven even means in this context. Because it's not just one place. It's more of a collective term for a whole series of higher dimensional worlds, and each one has this incredibly expanded experience of life. You've got the Millennium Realm, where a lifespan is about 1,000 of our years, all the way up to the Isles of the Immortals, which is described as God's back garden. I mean, that's the highest state of being you can achieve. So, the million-dollar question: how do you get there? Well, the text lays out 3 keys. First, you got to repay all your debts, and that means worldly debts and what it calls karmic debts. Think of those as unresolved energetic imbalances from things you've done. Second, you accumulate merit through selfless service. And third, you perfect your being by actually refining the structure of your non-physical, spiritual body, your energetic self. So it's a path of responsibility, service, and deep inner work. Okay, that you might be thinking, a path to heaven? That sounds, well, hard. Like it's probably full of struggle and suffering, right? So let's ask the question: if heaven is a place of pure joy, what is the path to get there actually like? Well, the answer we get is just a beautiful guidepost for this whole journey. It basically says, if you are living an exhausting life, you are far from the path. If you are living with more and more joy, you are near. And that's the key. The path isn't supposed to be about struggle. It's about cultivating joy and freedom and happiness right here, right now. That's how you know you're on the right track. You know, as we start to wrap this up, I want to leave you with this one last idea from Aphorism 399. Life is forever on a journey. The scenery ahead is unseen. It's just such a powerful reminder that this process of growing and exploring, it never really ends. There's always more to see, always more to discover. So, we've gone through this incredible map of reality, from the power of your own thoughts all the way to the structure of the cosmos. And the text just leaves us with one final, very personal question for you to think about. What is your next step?